Even before the prince and the world, he drove his parents wild. I never knew the babies could scream before they were born, groaned the king. Nor I, said the queen. At least the king could leave the room. But the queen had no relief, day or night, from the one screaming inside her. The greatest magicians in the land were summoned. They tried their most powerful spells. They sang and enchanted before the pregnant queen, but nothing silenced the screaming. The king tried promises. My darling child, he said, I will give you all the kingdoms east of the sun and west of the moon. Still the baby screamed. If you are a boy, I will give you a bride as lovely as the queen fairy. If you are a girl, you will be wed to the finest prince in the land. The baby screamed even louder. The king grew desperate. I will give you youth without age and life without death, he declared. Only then did the screaming stop. Show you therefore a baby boy and the world. During his son's childhood, the king didn't think twice about the extravagant promise he had made. The prince was a remarkable calm child. He no longer screamed or even raised his voice. His smiles brightened the lives of everyone in the castle. But on his 16th birthday, his mood changed. He stood before his father, looking unusually determined. It's time, he said, for you to give me what you promised before I was born. The king turned pale. How can I give you something the world has never known? I only wish to quiet you. Then I must seek it for myself, said the prince. The king and queen were broken-hearted. How could they let their beloved son set forth on such an unlikely quest? Where could he possibly find life without death? They warned him of the dangers he would face. They told him if they stayed, he soon would rule the kingdom himself. They begged and they pleaded, but he would not listen. Finally, the king said, if you must go, I want you to take my strongest horse. The prince raced down to his father's stables. How could he choose among such handsome chargers? His father had the finest in all the land. But something odd happened when the prince touched them. They trembled. It was almost as if the horses knew the dangers of the prince's quest. Only one horse stood steady. That was one that the prince chose, a worthy companion for his long journey. He told his servants to saddle it while he said goodbye to the king and queen. You must take my warriors with you, said the king, but the prince wanted to find his destiny by himself. So he soon ordered them to return home. He did not know what danger lay ahead, but he trusted himself and his horse. He rode for days and weeks and months, until they came to a land so far away that nothing seemed familiar. We stopped by a hut to see if he could spend the night. A five-eyed witch came to the door. She spit fire and flame and threatened to burn the prince to a cinder. Cook me there instead, he demanded. The witch was startled. Why didn't he flee? She had never met such a brave man before. Wait, she said. If you gather some wood, I will light a fire. But the moment he rode off to look for wood, the witch turned herself into a beautiful maiden. She turned her hut into a palace and moved further into the forest. She knew the prince would travel that way. "Welcome," she said, when he rode up to the castle door. He was holding an armload of wood and looking lost. "Come right in." Before Prince knew it, he found himself enchanted by the maiden and her spells. The prince spent a happy week with her. He fed apples to the unicorns as he swam to the lawn each morning. He shared the splendid meals that magically appeared on the table. And when he climbed to the castle roof with her, he saw more falling stars in a single night than he had in his whole entire life. But a witch is a witch at heart, and she was soon tired of being pleasant. "Off you go," she said. She looked like a maiden beginning to spit a little fire. The prince raced away on his horse, somewhat confused by the witch's spells. He didn't understand what he must remain with the witch if he hoped to fulfill his quest. All he knew was that he had an unbearable yearning to see his parents. He must return home. But as he rode back, he discovered that the forest had been fields, and villages have turned to cities. When the prince asked how this could have happened in a short week, he was gone. People scurried away. They looked back over their shoulders, frightened by his wild eyes and his old-fashioned clothing. This made the prince so angry that he had noticed that his hair had turned white, as well as his beard. As he rode along, his legs began to tremble, and his beard grew all the way down to his waist. His horse began to falter. He didn't realize that the 7 days he had spent with the witch had really been 700 years. When he reached his parents' palace, all they saw was ruins and weeds. The prince searched every corner of every room. He looked through every stall in the stable, but he found nothing from his childhood remained. Finally, he pushed aside rubble and went down to the palace cellar. But now his beard was flapping against his knees, and he could barely totter along. All he found was a battered strongbox. The prince struggled to lift the lid. Inside, he saw something that looked like a shriveled up leaf. But to his horror, it rose up and spoke. "Had you left me here much longer, I would have perished," said its death. Its withered hand reached out and touched the prince. Instantly, he crumbled into dust. His quest for youth without age and life without death had failed. Have you heard about the man who marries a corpse? What about magic school where one student in every class is never allowed to leave? Or the beautiful red-haired maiden whose hair is actually a serpent's? Many of these tales go back hundreds of years into the farthest corners of the earth. But as diverse as they are, they also reveal one important truth. Everyone loves a scary story. The authors have dug deeply from Egypt to Iceland to find the spooky stories from more bounds. Listen, can you hear the bones begin to rattle?